Hi everyone, I'm Sloan from SloanBella.com and I am back with another energetically channeled celebrity musician video. Now this video is very unique in the sense that there are different frequencies going on the entire time that I'm picking up on the energy. And there are multiple timelines playing out for this young woman who passed away on March 1st of 2025. She died in Montgomery, Alabama on her way between gigs with her crew in the Sprinter van when that van got into an accident, and subsequently only one of the 9 people was killed. And it happened to be the late R&B, hip hop, and neo-soul musician Angie Stone. You all are familiar with her. Her work spans decades. She's creator energetically. She's a catalyst for other creators and entertainers and musicians. Her work is so multifaceted and so unique and ahead of its time that she probably energetically, frequency-wise, didn't understand the reason for not being able to climb the ladder quite the way that you should be able to climb it when you have that level of success. It's not like she didn't have any success. She really truly was responsible for so many people elevating their careers, helping them into the industry, helping them create other things within the industry. They took her music, her lyrics, and everything and continually tried to put her behind the scenes, behind the this, behind the that. And that's the energy I feel when I'm talking about it. Now, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Angie Stone. And I was chuckling because when I started to focus on her, she removed her first name, Angie. She removed her last name, Stone, and she pinpointed her middle name, Lavern. She wanted that highlighted. She wanted me to call her Lavern. I don't know why. I don't know if that was a pet name from childhood or if that means something to somebody. I know it's her middle name, and usually you're named after somebody, but she calls herself Lavern now. She's removed herself from Angie Stone. I know she is who she is. I get that. But for some reason, for this reading, she's really pointing out her middle name and she's focused on that middle name. So she wants me to keep that front and center, but I'm going to call her Angie, even though she's shaking her head. Anyway, Angie Laverne Stone was born on December 18th of 1961. She was a happy Sag. Sagittarius, Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, a stellium in Sagittarius. All of them conjunct, beautifully spoken. Don't have a rising sign for her, but I'll tell you, she looks like Virgo rising to me. Late degree Leo, progressed into Virgo, or Virgo rising. When I look at her, that's how I feel. I have no access to birth certificate or time or even know if the time that would be given would be correct. What I love about a musician having a Taurus moon is that is right on point for the beautiful melodic kind of sound that they sing and the way that they see music and the tonality of it. So Taurus moon on a female elevated in the chart, which is why I'm putting Virgo over here and I'm putting the Taurus at the top of the chart, just really, really sits with me correctly. I will also tell you there is a frequency with Angie, aka Lavern. She wants me to keep saying that. I'm gonna keep doing it. Okay, look, we're back. Here she is. She wants Lavern said. All right, I have to do this. This is happening. This is just ridiculous. It's happening already. I spoke today and I'm like, don't mess up my computer. And it was going really good the 4 times I tried to start the video until right then. Anyway, Angie had her ruling planet. So she is a Sagittarius with a stellium in Sag. That's ahead of their time. That is actually indicative with the moon Neptune opposition with her. That's indicative of somebody that grows up in a philosophical, religious home, whatever that religion is, it doesn't really matter. They start to focus on it, but with the moon opposition Neptune, they're going to come into question with what they've been taught. It's also going to steer them in a different direction for how they respond as a female because it's moon Neptune opposition. That doesn't give them clarity in their own strength. It waters it down in a spiritual level. Now, we know spiritual isn't watered down, but it kind of dilutes the earthbound strength from that Taurus moon. It makes it incredibly musical and incredibly psychic, empathic, intuitive, and all of those things. I really feel she was empathic because I feel that's why she had so many health issues, is she took on the energy of other people around her and tried to send it back out and transmute it. And of course, it got stuck in her body frequencies. Yes, there's genetics and there's DNA structure, etc. But there are other things going. She's kind of, her energy is funny. She's kind of just like sitting back like, yeah, okay, you say that. She's saying it like that. So she's very matter-of-factly and very direct in the way that she speaks. And again, she wants me to highlight her middle name. That is for somebody out there, and I don't know what that means, but she wants that highlighted. And I think it's a point of contention within the family for some reason. Immediately, she wants me to start talking about the day that she passed. She wants me to talk about it. Now, as I said, her ruling planet is Jupiter. Wait, I have to just get this. I'm being pulled in different directions. Her ruling planet is Jupiter. Jupiter is in Aquarius. At the time of the accident, Pluto was in Aquarius. So Pluto-Jupiter connection on some level. I haven't actually looked at the degree of that, but it's just interesting. They'd be floating around the same house in her natal chart. And again, I do not know her rising sign. Also, she does have Venus conjunct Mars. Venus conjunct Mars is the warring planet with the love planet. So that's a battle of love. It was hard for her to give into that, and then she tried. So there were trust issues immediately. All right, let's get into it. Immediately, right off the bat, she's pointing out the age of 11. And this is when people started to get really mad at her because she changed the direction of her life at age 11. She is kind of allowing me to feel that the family dynamic for her growing up, she wanted the attention of her father and his pride. She wanted him to be like acknowledging of what she was doing. And I don't feel she got that. That is the whole behind the scenes focus on why the music industry, besides the fact that they are the way they are, but why the music industry in particular did not give her her props, and she had to constantly fight. That's the energy of her and her father, regardless of what was said publicly. I can feel that. That's what I feel. She goes to the day of the accident and says straight up, I shouldn't have listened. I shouldn't have listened. She is showing me, and I'm going to just do it this way. We're going back and forth, so just bear with me here. She is showing me that on the day of the accident, she listened to somebody that she shouldn't have listened to. She is also showing me that the person that she listened to didn't intentionally try to set her up, but it was a setup in an energetic frequency. So other people in the circumstance were setting her up, or other people that knew of her were setting her up. But the woman that she shouldn't have listened to, that particular woman is part of a system frequency. She's showing me this. She's showing me multiple timelines going on. She's showing me an old style clothing line, like back in your grandma's house clothing. Well, my grandmother's, you youngsters know, but back in grandma's house where you had the clotheslines and they kind of moved across, like you put the sheets up and then you moved it down. It kind of was like on a pulley. She's showing me that. She's showing me that in reference to frequency, and in frequency and vibration. And when you align yourself, that's what she's showing me. The woman who helped her intention-wise was unaware of her own intention and frequency. So when somebody is being targeted, gang stalked, and she was, okay, that's what was happening to her at the end of her life, and actually since 2022, possibly 2015, okay? I go back to like 2015 with her. 2015, 2022, gang stalking. So when you're being stalked by anybody, they have to be able to pick up on a vibration to kind of follow you, to watch you, to understand where you go, right? This is energetically. They go to the astral. She's showing me this. She's showing me the clothing line. She's showing me people all in line, clothes pinned up, energetically connected, like sheets on a clothesline. And when the energy is signaled, they all hear the frequency and they react. Now, their reactions, they feel are independent, and some may feel they're doing the best thing. Like, I'm doing the best thing. I'm trying to help this person. I feel like I'm going to help this person, but they're being summoned by a negative energy frequency, which is they're reacting to, okay, without, no, I'm not saying knowledge. I'm not saying this person, because it doesn't feel like this person understood what they were doing or what it would set into motion, which is why Angie is saying I shouldn't have listened to her. It is a she. I don't think it's anybody on the bus, but it feels like it's somebody that told Angie, move over here. I shouldn't have listened. She was a target. Now, how does that happen? If somebody is being gang stalked and you need them to be in a position A on the mark over here, you basically can summon other people that can hear your frequency, your dog whistle. They can hear it, and those people respond in a way. Now, if you're a good person on that frequency, which is very possible, we're all on different frequencies, we're all on different radio channels, which is very appropriate for a musician because they're played on the radio. Anyway, she is saying, and she was blocked on the radio, I just heard that. Anyway, she is saying that if that radio frequency and you're a good person and you see somebody injured or you see somebody needing help, you will go over to them and reach out for help. But what if you're helping them is part of a bigger scope of sight that you can't see? So you're reacting from self, I'm a good person, I'm going to help this lady off the street, or I'm going to help this kid or this dog out of the road, whatever it is. And you do so, which then puts them exactly on the X where they can be taken out. Exactly what happened. It was most definitely not an accident in the truest sense of the word. Obviously, it's an accident because it shows up that way, but it's not an accident. She's actually showing me as she gets, for some reason, I'm seeing her get outside of the van and she's fine. I'm seeing her be fine. She is saying it's a setup. 100% it's a setup. She's saying it's a setup. They don't want to deal with me. They don't want to listen to me. She goes all the way back to 2015. They don't want to listen to me and they don't want to deal with me. And fuck them, I'm going to do this. She was pissed. She really was stubbornly fixated on getting the things that were rightfully hers. So she had a right to them and they were never going to give it to her. Her health was deteriorating. They were trying to buy her back. They were trying to buy her back on her way into this tour. She was never going to complete the tour. She had health issues. So here's what I'm going to say to you, and this is what it makes me feel like. And this is how she's kind of directing me. But I will also say there were health issues in her body and she really wasn't going to live much longer, but they took the last part of my life. See, it's not really up to another person to like take you out 4 years before you're going to pass because of an issue, right? Her health was getting seriously worse and worse and worse. And I don't know if she was on a tour or could have been on a tour at this time or signed up for a tour, but she wasn't going to be able to complete that tour. She was going to be having hospital visits, hospital this, hospital that. I also feel like when I go down to the stomach area, there were so many issues in that area, all areas, with the intestines, with the bowels, with the kidneys, with the liver, like all of it was systematically problematic. And I think it's more than one medical issue. So I think it's more than one thing going on, and she was not physically able to keep up the way she kept up. So her physical health was suffering, and this was problematic for her at the time, but she was trying and doing it. It just took her a lot more energy to do what she previously had done, which I guess, you know, she was 63 when she passed. That kind of makes sense. Like, you don't have the same energy. Even if you have a lot of energy, it's definitely not the same. However, no one has the right to remove you. Now, she sits off in a corner and she's watching the scene. She's watching the scene. I will tell you this. Okay, she immediately scoops me over to where she's living and she's talking about people casting, okay, black magic, but I really feel like it's a different kind of black magic, like Santeria, voodoo, something in the negative sense. I know these are religions and can be done positively, but I'm not talking about that. If it was positive, we wouldn't be talking about her right here. I also feel that her discernment about people around her that were brought into her life by family members. So like, if I have a family member and I go to visit them and I bring my best friend or this girl I've known my whole life or this dude, and I bring them, and these are females actually, and I bring them over, like, you're just trusting me. And what if I'm jealous of you and have the spirit of envy, which is what's going on, okay? That's what's going on. Her energy, and don't get me wrong here. This is what I'm hearing. Oh my God, okay. Don't get me wrong. She made a lot of mistakes with how she chose to live her life. She thought that it was going to be different, and they always lie to you. So she's talking about the record labels there. They always lie to you. They always take shit from you. They always take shit from you. They're not going to let you have it, even if you do agree to do what they want you to do. She's kind of showing me that she agreed to do some of the things of the music industry, and she was involved in that, but she stepped back, and that's actually the reason that she is no longer in her physical body. She basically rejected the ideology of what they wanted her to do. Also, she's talking about somebody trying to put their hooks into her energy and take her stuff and make it theirs. So she's showing me a record executive and a like deviant smiling one on top of it, like just a smug smile. Man, white looking. I can't really tell what people are, but white looking. And she's showing me this particular person and saying that he took new music of hers or new lyrics or something new she created and is trying to give it to these people. No. She is fighting back, okay? She was fighting back. And on a financial level, she was getting ready to sue. There were 8 people involved in this, not her, but 8 people, which is weird because the van number 8 people survived. There were 8 people, and these are like executives, record people, people that were stealing her shit, people in the industry, both male and female, people you admire. She don't admire them anymore. She saw them at her funeral, full of shit. She saw them full of shit. These people are full of it. She saw them. This was a concerted, somebody had been, and the word is throwing roots at her or putting roots on her. I'm not really familiar with, I mean, I am familiar. That's a form of magic in a negative sense, but that's what was happening to her. And I equate it with the gang stalking. And I also feel it comes from within inside of her family, and the connection is inside of the family. Okay, yeah. I'm saying that because my head's about to explode. I'm getting a little bit of a headache. Okay, so the relationship with her daughter was very tenuous or stressful or problematic, and she did things she's not proud of, but she's doing something where she's showing me pulling her daughter closer to her face. I think this is after she died. She's trying to get her daughter to hear her. She's trying to get her to hear her right in her face. It's not going to turn out the way you think. It's not going to, she's warning her daughter about something, but she's trying to do it from the other side and she's trying to pull it. And by the way, to the family members speaking to spirit and trying to get her to come back to find out where something is, because she hid something or put something away and nobody can find it. So, and I think it's paperwork connected to something else. It seems like it's connected to a house or a deed to a document or something along these lines, and she hid it. She hid it. It was her life preserver. She hid it. She wasn't stupid. She hid it. And there were a lot of problems in the family. She was never really taken care of the way she should have been taken care of. She was kind of, family was in competition with her a lot of the time. And I'm talking from childhood, parental upbringing, and all the way on. She is talking about her kids. They need to physically watch themselves because there are unscrupulous people behind them and around them. The same people that came into her life. There's female figures, women figures who actually, okay, this sounds crazy, making her go cross-eyed right now. She's so angry, cross-eyed. Okay, she was taking medicine that made her drowsy. So she would go to sleep and these people would rifle through her shit, steal her shit, steal her information, steal her identity. And I'm talking like on a criminal level, not like in a musical way, which is also criminal, but I'm talking about use it in other ways. They were putting spells on her, magic. She's being gang stalked. So I know people get confused with that. Like, what does that mean? So when we talk about being gang stalked, it's the same thing she's talking about, the timeline and the clothesline. If somebody, and yes, you don't have to be famous to be gang stalked. You have to resonate an energy at a certain frequency and they don't like you. So, and who's the they? Our captors on the planet, or the people that rule the planet, or the people that just go around gang stalking because they're weirdos. Her frequency was in the element of change and she wasn't actually supposed to die right now. So this was a hit on her. She is talking about being undermined, which is gang stalking. They make you paranoid. They make you afraid. They fuck with your money. They fuck with your family. They have people in public follow you. That's what she's talking about. A lot of the people in public that follow you, now she's famous, so they may have recognized her and she may have put it off to the side like that. But if you're a person who's being gang stalked like she was and you're not famous and you're wondering when the fuck's this guy keeps showing up, it's because it's frequency tagged, okay? The frequency that you resonate at, like the clothesline, whatever that means, that frequency is tagged to respond when it's activated. So it's almost like programming, and the frequency is responding to the energy of that timeline. That's gang stalking. She's also making me feel like money exchanged hands for her life. So money exchanged hands. In other words, there was a payoff for somebody. To me, that has to be somebody in the roadway causing a commotion and causing chaos. And then what happens after chaos is caused, but you're not dead. So the beginning fact is to disorient or chaos. One cannot respond properly, even if they've like tripped and fallen on the ground. It takes them a while to get their faculties back and thinking. And I feel like when the accident happened to her, she did injure herself. Like she would have been in the hospital. And I do feel like she wasn't thinking straight. So when the female, she's showing me female, moved her into position, I'm seeing that. Not the female's fault, is what she's saying. The woman thought she was doing the right thing. When she moved her into position, the target was at the mark and she was taken out at that time. That is very interesting because I am seeing that somebody received financial benefit for her passing. Now, we could look at this in insurance to her family and that's fine, but that's not what we're talking about. We're literally talking about a bet. You do this, I'll give you this. And it's cash deal. So was it driver A or driver B? I'm going with driver B. And I think that that particular driver does this a lot. So we'll take money to do shit that you shouldn't be doing. To stage an accident. This is not uncommon. I mean, they do it all the time. You know, you've heard of those things where people just stop in the middle of the road and you get rear-ended. I mean, they rear-end you. People just stop. You rear-end them because you're going 80 on the freeway and they just boom, stop. So you hit them. Now you're getting sued and they deliberately stopped. Now, are they injured? Are they not? This is kind of along the lines. It was a total scam. Once she passed, immediately, 100%, they're looking for the deed to this property. I'm laughing because they're not going to find it. They're looking, she's showing me something really funny and I know she didn't do this, but it's like she ripped the paperwork up and she ate it and swallowed it so you can't have it. She has a sense of humor. I don't think it's that because you can look things up on computers. I think it was switched into a position where it cannot be looked up on a computer. That is very interesting. That is something that's extremely unique. That is like crafty on her part. She knew she was going to die though. I feel like she had a conversation with somebody that she was going to pass. She knew they were coming for her. 2022 onward, she knew that. She knew and really felt like they were coming for her. There's a transference of energy, and I will tell you this. So I know we're going to talk about D'Angelo because she was with D'Angelo, and you all know D'Angelo, and they passed away October and then March. October, November, December, January, February, March. So like 6 months apart, right? Unheard of. So these poor children, their parents, both parents are gone. The young man, I think he's 26 or 27, their son. So he lost both his parents in one shot. Okay. That's like that's weird. Reference to a bowling ball and bowling. And then she goes back to Lavern. I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that TV show. And I don't know what to say. She's just commenting on that. I'm just seeing that. That just popped in. All right. When we're talking about this though, I want you to understand her passing was so tangible to her and yet so 3D, not her, or like a hologram, not her. That's what I mean by 3D. I don't mean the dimension. She is showing herself, like her brains got rattled when the van, I'm sure other people in the accident probably maybe have the same problems with it. She don't trust anybody anymore because her family members are the ones that are undermining her at the root cause of it. I think she transferred one of the properties into a separate place that people don't know about. And the person that she had do it is not going to give up that information. It wasn't her usual accountant, bookkeeper, lawyer, whoever. It wasn't a usual person. This is something she did privately and she did for her own amusement. That's why she's eating the paper and swallowing it. She's saying they're not going to find it. So they're looking for this, and I don't know what the property is, and I'm not quite sure. She is referencing getting property like with oil rights on it. Oil rights. I don't know what that is, but oil rights on it. So she's referencing that. She is saying that when D'Angelo died, it went through her. So it went through her on a physical way, like whoosh, through her. She also, okay, so you guys, I know, they all want to know if she reunited with D'Angelo on the other side. And I know we like to think of things like that. But this is, she just gave me a quick vision, and I'm going to do his video next. But she just gave me a quick vision of what she saw when she crossed over of him. He is in a fetal position, crouched down. He's bare-ass naked, and he's in the shower. And he's like this. And then it just disappeared from her. So something about his passing is causing a blockage in being able to, for her to connect with him on the other side. It's not always going to be that way, but that's just like how she's showing it when she died. She knew his death was untimely, and she knew they were coming for her. She knew it. So she was aware. You don't go unseen. You don't go unseen. She is at a level where she can see the people that were gang stalking her on the etheric or astral level. She can see them. She can see who put the orders out. And what she shows me, this is very interesting, because I mean, I get bits and pieces of this from people, but she's showing me a full-on, like, octopus with arms and tentacles and suctions. And she's showing me the people that they're suctioned after. And she was one of them, and so was D'Angelo, and so were a lot of other musicians that passed. She was showing me that. She also is explaining that when she crossed out of her body hit like this. She wasn't, so I don't know really what happened. I wasn't there. But when the van rolled, I think she would have lived after that had she not gotten injured outside of the van. Like this. Just like, might have pushed her right back into the van. I mean, the outside of the van, or under the van, or into it somehow. Because she was moved, but she was on the target location, so she was physically had to walk there. That's how it feels. Very confused. She kind of shows me like, so the way that she left her body, I'm asking her because everybody's different, and I feel it different from everybody. I think it's unique, like a thumbprint. I think we leave. She's laughing because she's going, oh, you think it's unique, do you? She's like, no, she's saying, okay, like, okay, when I say she's saying, I'm just picking up on the energy of it. So the vibration around the feeling of her passing is that it wasn't special to her. This has happened multiple times. They threw her off of balance so that when she left her physical body, she's going out through the right side, like a corkscrew. The energy's like this, like that, corkscrew out the right side. Immediately, she was unsure what happened, but then understood what happened and is not settled with it, you bunch of... She's not settled with it. Not settled with it at all. Not settled with it. Watch, her kids need to watch it because they're... Okay, so she cut that sentence off. So there's people in her family that plotted against her because either they wanted what she had or they wanted to be her or whatever, envy, jealousy, whatever BS goes on in people's minds, thinking that they can have what you have, right? No. That's what the uniqueness is your gift. And she's also going back to when she's 11 years old, and she's talking about what her family wanted her to do. She's talking about the confusion with her mother, who blew very hot and cold and was extremely critical of her. Critical as hell of her. Hot and cold. Like, they're not there, their critique, you know, you look like this, you look like that. Like, just total critique on her. She never felt really good enough about herself. That is why she went into singing, because it made her feel connected when she sang. So she became an artist. You have to be born with that gift. They're not hiring like random people to sing, because you either have it. And she's kind of making me feel like she already had the gift. She didn't need to go along with them. And so that makes me feel like once you get into a gang or a mindset or a frequency and you try to leave it, they're going to try to kill you, like any other establishment that doesn't want you talking. Look at the cigarette industry. That just popped up too. But look at the cigarette industry. I wonder if she was a closet smoker. I mean, I think that would be stupid for a singer, but I just popped on the cigarette industry. So there you have it. They tried to kill their witnesses and people that tried to back out of it that had worked for them, etc. But I feel like this is not done. This is set off a set of dominoes within the context of her family. It's so new. It's so new, but she's not settled, and it was definitely a hit. They wanted her on the mark, target mark. She's gang stalked, black magic against her. At the end of her life, she didn't even want to eat what was around her or be around people and didn't trust anybody. But because she did have some loyal friends around her, they couldn't really get to her. So they had to scramble everybody in order to make her respond of her own volition to move her into the target by getting somebody who's activated on the frequency to say, hey, go stand over there, wait for the tow truck, blah, 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 over there. Or are you okay? Let me check you. Hold on, I'll go get my phone. And then she ends up dying in the interim. Totally set up like that. Totally set up. Again, she goes back to being about age 11 and whatever she did within the context of the family. She felt like she disappointed them, but she didn't. She didn't. They were actually really proud of her, but they didn't know how to release the way that they thought on a philosophical level, like being very staunchly one way and then their daughter's this way. And she still tried to fit in with them and couldn't. And then she kind of went off over here. She wasn't thinking straight in the last couple of years in her own life, in the sense that she really was getting sicker and sicker. Now, that's interesting because people can will that on you. Obviously, if shit happens to your body, we know they're very delicate, the bodies, but it's a combination of things. She had unscrupulous people connected to her. There's 2 females. There's family members, male. These wouldn't be her son, but this might be somebody who dated one of her kids, is around her kids, cousin, somebody related, uncle, younger person around 38-ish, looking kind of skinny, kind of has coyote energy. What I mean by that is kind of like sketch energy, like probably sketchy in the family. Probably everybody notices he's sketchy in the family, but this was a setup. This is a setup. And guess what? You can't do that. God always straightens it out. So she is still very aware of what's going on, very aware. There is concern for her daughter. She keeps pulling her daughter really close, and this is figuratively, not literally, but she's trying to get her daughter to hear, but for some reason she's showing me she can't. Well, she has passed away, so she can't talk to her, but her daughter's not picking up on what she's putting down. It's not being picked up on, and then she's like this, she's like this. I think that's also part of the reason that she passed, is they knew that she was coming for what was rightfully hers, and they're trying to hold on, and it's a total flip of energy. They won't get away with it. I mean, they may get away with it here, but they're not going to get away with it. This is their fear of dying. This is their fear of dying, not hers, the people who set her up. Older white men, business executives, older people in different countries. There was like a powwow meeting around a table where, okay, interesting. She saw this after she died. So this reminds me of a lawyer's table in those movies where they all sit around the table, but it's executives and people in the music industry, probably lawyers and accountants and executives and creatives at a higher producers. They're all sitting around and it's like they're accessing her. She's showing me this. They're accessing her through a video screen, but she's already dead. So they're accessing her energy to see where she went. They're trying to catch her. They're trying to catch her. So the way that they targeted her was meant to confuse her, so her energy would be unclear when it crossed over. So she'd be caught because she wouldn't know what was truthful. But she could see D'Angelo. She could see him for a split second. So however he crossed, before he crossed, naked in the shower, in a corner, in a fetal position. So very interesting. I can't talk to him right now. I can't talk to him. So wherever he is different than where she is. And neither of it's bad. It's just different. See, a lot of people say certain people are going to end up in bad dimensions. You know what I'm talking about. However, if you are tricked in this life or you believe something and you're not given the full information, that's not really a you thing. It's deliberate intention behind what you do. So deliberately, if you go over here and you do this intentionally, then that can be judged in that way. But if somebody's lying to you, like, go over there, go in that house, it's mine, get the food, and you do, it's not yours. You open the door, you steal the food, you end up in jail, but you were tricked. You weren't trying to rob the house. So she's kind of showing me that energy as well. Okay. I don't know if she had a gambling problem. That just came up as well. So gambling, because she shows me her name, Lavern, in lights, like this. It's in lights. She keeps wanting me to say that. So I'm just going to end this with that. I don't know what that is, but it does make me feel happy when I say Lavern. It strikes me as funny. For some reason that she keeps referencing it. So whoever Lavern is out there, she's referencing you. She wants her daughter literally to watch her back. She wants her son to watch his back as well. They're closing in around her kids, so it's not the safest environment for them. And there's like dominoes in the family, so you need to watch. There's like, spiritually speaking, this is a spiritual attack straight up. Straight up. Straight up. Straight up. It was a targeted hit after being gang stalked from like 2015 on. All right, you guys, this is my first video on Angie Stone, aka Lavern, for whatever reason. And once again, my name is Sloan from SloanBella.com.